That is a Hellcat Durango coming up on my left. Yeah, that's awesome. Don't see many of those. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and yes, we have parts showing up for the 2021 Scat Pack. This is a rear diffuser, and we've got some other things we're going to add to that car in the next video. But in today's video, we're going to talk about which car is better. So many of you have asked me, what's better, the Hellcat Redeye or the Scat Pack? And it seems like an obvious answer, and so many of you believe that maybe it's the Hellcat. I'll tell you, there's so much involved with this that I think I should share it with you, because I've also had people ask me, why did I buy a Scat Pack if I have a Hellcat? As though you can't have both. That's ridiculous. Let's first roll that intro.
I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Die too young. 100 miles per hour, might crash cause a good die young. Yeah, the good die young. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone.
So before we get started, I'm very excited to announce that today's video is sponsored by the Ridge wallet. When they reached out to me, I was blown away because I was going through some stress carrying this thing around. About a month ago, I bought this wallet and gave up on the copy of the Ridge wallet because it was falling apart. This wallet I thought was going to be the solution because it's very strong and it cost $400. The problem is sticking this in my back pocket was very uncomfortable. It had me leaning to the left-hand side, and I found myself leaving it in my car all the time, meaning I would show up to restaurants and then be the guy at the table with no money. And that's not who I am. So when they reached out to me, it was perfect timing because I needed a wallet. I needed something I can carry around every single day, and I needed something that wasn't going to fall apart. And what's beautiful about the Ridge is that it has a lifetime warranty and a 45-day test drive, meaning if I don't like this thing, if you don't like this thing, you can send it back and get all your money back. It holds up to 8 cards, and I've had more fit in here before, and all your cash, everything you need in this small, compact package. For me, it fits perfectly in my front pocket, and I could take it anywhere. I could stick it in my suit pocket, and it's great. It's not bulky, it's not uncomfortable to carry around, and it actually looks good. It comes in 30 different colors, more than 30 different colors, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. Of course, I chose the burnt titanium, but it was difficult because the carbon fiber is beautiful as well. It has RFID blocking technology, so you don't have to worry about the digital pickpocketers. And with over 40,000 5-star reviews, no wonder they give you a lifetime warranty on their products. So go check out the link below for 10% off of this wallet at ridge.com/OC Motivator. And I appreciate all of your support of the channel. Now let's start the video. All right, so which is better, Hellcat or a Scat Pack? Well, I've owned one Hellcat Redeye and 2 Scat Packs, so I'm speaking from experience when I tell you that the Scat Pack is a lot more fun when it comes to being able to push a car to its limit. You never, I don't, want to push the Hellcat to its limit. I've done it before, and here's what happens. You smoke the living daylights out of the back tires. When you pull up to a stoplight, literally everyone wants to race you, and I've had 5.0 Mustangs and Scat Packs frankly beat me because I was spending so much time sitting at the stoplight spinning my tires and frankly getting a little sideways. Even at 50 miles an hour, if you stomp on the gas pedal with 797 horsepower and 700 foot-pounds of torque, you're going to spin the tires, which I've done before, and I'll tell you, it's terrifying. Somewhat exhilarating, but nonetheless terrifying and frankly useless in a roll race. So unless you're an experienced driver and you have the right tires, this is where you all start to comment, well, it's because you have the wrong tires. I've talked to friends and other people at the car shows who have other tires, and you know what they say? I go, does it really spin less? They go, a little bit, but you're still going to spin. You got almost 800 horsepower on this thing, rear-wheel drive, it's going to spin. Now, under the right conditions, on a racetrack, you could get this thing to stick. It's going to beat so many cars, but under those conditions. So here's the deal. I liken this to a story about a friend. I'm going to use his name, was Sean. Not really his name. I'm going to protect him so he's not embarrassed by this. But we all went through this period where we all wanted to get buffed and look really good because we were going to the river and hanging out on our boat. And it was really important to look good. Well, I had an objective to get cut, to be fit, to have usable muscle. He went to the level of saying, I want to look absolutely ridiculous and frankly stupid in the end, and had muscles coming out of his forehead and his neck, everywhere. He was one of those humongous guys whose arms stuck out like this. Everywhere he went, people stopped and stared in absolute awe, amazement, and frankly ridicule in some cases.
Hey, I got you guys a protein shake.
Awesome. I love protein.
I know you love protein. I love protein too.
Yeah, protein rocks.
Are you guys talking about protein? I love protein. I love protein too.
We know you love protein. Protein rocks.
Awesome. Protein rocks.
Protein. Protein.
Protein.
Protein.
Protein.
That was just what he looked like. We would go to the river, he would stand on the front of the boat, cover himself in baby oil, and flex around, and everybody would look at him like he's an alien from another planet. Men would look at him and go, wow, I envy a man with that much commitment to work out that hard to look like that. I wish I could look like that. Women were throwing up all over the side of the boats because it was disgusting, because it didn't make sense. It was overkill. So what happened is at the nighttime, we'd go to the nightclubs. And in the nightclubs, almost every single time, he would get in a fight and lose, or we would have to come and rescue him because he was so big and so lumbering and so awkward and so uncomfortable, clothes didn't even fit, that he couldn't defend himself. Yet everyone saw him in such huge grandeur with all those muscles that they figured, I'm gonna go pick a fight with that guy. He couldn't fight. He couldn't fight for the life of him. But the rest of us, we were still quick and agile and could move pretty good. Someday, I hope to be back to my fighting weight. Right now, I'm not there, thank you, COVID. But nonetheless, it wasn't practical. It was all for show. And unfortunately, for most of us who own Hellcats, it's pretty much all for show. Because we're not at the racetrack racing these cars, putting the right drag radials on them, or drag tires, and under the right conditions, the right weather, the right everything, and then being able to race down the track in its optimal conditions to get this thing to beat other cars. Here's what we're doing. We're pulling up to stoplights, and the Mustang pulls alongside of us, and he's sitting in a 5.0 with stock tires on it and beats us off the line until we finally get traction. And frankly, I don't know when that is, because if you keep your foot in it, this sucker's going to keep spinning, and it's going to keep spinning until you're facing the other direction. With the Scat Pack, it's much more usable power, just like the analogy with Sean. He looked good to some people. He was frightening and menacing looking, just like the Hellcat. And you knew that if he needed to pick something up really heavy, he could do it under the right conditions. If he was in a competition against other weightlifters, he could do it. If you're on a drag strip against other drag cars under the right conditions, you're going to be able to beat people. But in normal conditions, when you have to put a suit on and go to work, normal conditions when you're just driving to the store, this thing is ridiculously insane. With that said, I love it and I plan to never not have a Hellcat. I know I was contemplating selling this thing and I haven't been able to get myself to emotionally get to that place yet. And if I did sell it, I would just buy another one anyways because I love it. But it's a pleasure vehicle for me. It's something I don't drive every single day for many reasons, which we're going to talk about in a second. Scat Pack, I can use every bit of that power. I can light the tires up with the light, but it's going to get traction pretty quickly and keep on going. Frankly, I can beat most cars out there with this car, and even if I can't, I'm staying real close to them. So it's everything I think I need for the road when it comes to the power aspect of it. So here's what Motor Trend wrote. Okay, sure, the Scat Pack isn't quite as quick as the Hellcat in a straight line. Dodge says it'll do 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, but we got a 4.2 out of a standard narrow body Charger Scat Pack. So the extra rubber will probably buy you a few more lengths. Conversely, Dodge says that the Hellcat will do it in 3.6 seconds, which sounds more reasonable since we got a narrow body Charger Hellcat do it in about 3.7. Dodge also says the Scat Pack will do a 12.4 second quarter mile to the Hellcat's 10.9. But the only way you're getting a 10-second quarter mile out of a Hellcat is on a well-prepped drag strip with a perfect launch. Best we've managed on asphalt is a high 11. Motor Trend went on to say this. During the launch of the new Challenger Hellcat widebody and the Charger Scat Pack widebody, I had the opportunity to take a few laps on a restricted Sonoma Raceway in California in both cars. While Dodge wouldn't time us, I'd bet real money on a tight technical track like Sonoma. In its full road course configuration, the Scat Pack widebody is quicker. Why? For the same reason I prefer the Scat Pack widebody in general. It can use its power. Even with big fat tires, the Hellcat's still prone to blowing the rears off the rims with the slightest twitch of the throttle. My point made. The Hellcat is a lot of car. Scat Pack is a car that anybody can enjoy. I dread the idea that my wife would ever drive this car because I think she could possibly hurt herself. When my daughter turns 16, I might trust her driving the Scat Pack. This, I love her too much to put her behind the wheel of this thing. It's downright insane. A blast, but downright insane. So now let's talk about why I think the Scat Pack's better, especially for daily use, like I'm using it for, is gas mileage. So the gas mileage on a Scat Pack is 15 to 24 miles to the gallon. Now when I drove back from Illinois, I was reaching upwards of 21, 22 miles to the gallon, and mind you, my foot was in it pretty much the whole way. So that was pretty good driving on, not even using cruise control, just cruising out on the highway. The Hellcat, 12 to 21, which is pretty awesome considering the horsepower in this car. But here's the problem. The sound of that supercharger whine and the temptation to stomp on it is so strong that I've been absolutely unable to break 13 miles to the gallon. Just not been able to do it, which I think is pretty good considering the car, the size of it, and the power that's behind it. But that means on average, I'm probably, if I'm getting 13 miles to the gallon, I'm hitting a lot of time under 10 miles to the gallon when I'm driving around town. That's absolutely inefficient, useless. The Scat Pack, I don't have the same temptation yet. I can jump on it if I need the power when I need it, but I'm not constantly in it. Maybe that's just my own issue, but driving this Hellcat, it's really hard to control that gas mileage. Next, let's talk about depreciation. The Hellcat is going to depreciate about $10,000 more than the Scat Pack. And here's why. You're going to spend upwards of almost $30,000 more for a Redeye, and probably $20,000 more for a regular Hellcat, depending on the time. Certainly the world's crazy right now. But when you pay Mercedes-Benz and BMW prices for an American car, what happens is every mile you put on that car is way more expensive than you're even thinking about while you're doing it, because the depreciation is huge when you start putting lots of miles on these cars. And it doesn't matter nowadays whether it's a German car or an American car, but the more miles you have on a high-end car, the faster it depreciates. So over a 5-year period, you might see a Scat Pack drop by $10,000 or $15,000, where you'll see a Hellcat, if you put the same amount of miles, let's say you put 25,000 miles on it, the Hellcat's going to be maybe $20,000, $25,000 less. And that just is how it is, because people are scared to death to buy a Hellcat that has a lot of miles on it. Because once the Hellcat is out of warranty, you're going to have some repair issues. So let's talk about that. Repair issues, once this is out of warranty, you have things on this that aren't on that when it breaks, it's going to be really expensive. For example, a supercharger. The supercharger alone is about $7,000 to $8,000 to replace on one of these Hellcats. Massively expensive, and I think that's before even labor and taxes and everything else. And it could be even more today with all the shortages due to COVID. So if I'm going to own this for a very long time, I have to expect once it's out of warranty that I may need a supercharger at some point. It happened on my Mercedes CL55 AMG, and it was $10,500 to replace. With the Scat Pack, you don't have that issue because it's naturally aspirated. So there's fewer things on this to break, and frankly, this is probably more reliable over the long haul because it's not as high performance, and it's frankly intended to be able to put more miles on it than the Hellcat Redeye. And depreciation on a car this special is sad to see happen unnecessarily. So I think those of you who want to buy a Hellcat and drive it every single day, you're risking just putting way too many miles on it and just killing the value of that car. I say use it for fun. For me, that's all I use it for. It's for fun. I love taking it out on the weekends and stretching its legs and flexing at stoplights, and it's cool. But, like I said, I'm not going to race a Mustang because I'm just going to spin the tires. Next, if you drive a Hellcat Redeye or a Hellcat as your primary driver and you have any tickets on your insurance or you're under the age of 40, your insurance is going to be outrageous. Just how it is. Now, some of you are going to say, my insurance is cheap. My insurance is really inexpensive. Well, it's because you live in Alabama. If you live in California, you're going to be paying a lot of money for insurance. If you live in New York or you live in Florida, there's other places where there's lots of traffic and congestion and lots of risk of crashing. You're going to pay a lot more money for insurance for a Hellcat. It just is how it is. For a Scat Pack, you're going to save some money. And you might save a few $100s every 6 months to a few $100s a month, depending on your driving record. But here's what happens. The propensity to get a speeding ticket in a Hellcat is significantly higher than in a Scat Pack, because you're going to do something way stupider in a Hellcat. And if you end up getting an exhibition speed ticket or one of those high point level tickets, that Hellcat insurance is going to be obnoxiously stupid. So my Scat Pack insurance is, I would say it's about $250 less every 6 months than it is for the Hellcat. So in closing, everybody, which car do I love more? Well, that's like asking me if I love my wife or my daughter more than the other. That's impossible for me to answer because I love them for very different reasons and in very different ways. And I feel the same way about my Hellcat versus my Scat Pack. I love this thing for very different reasons. It's all of its obnoxiousness and ridiculousness and massive engine and sounds and supercharger whine, and I love all of that about that car. I love the ability to do donuts even when I don't mean to do donuts. And I also love my Scat Pack because it's got the practicality along with the muscle and the flex and the awesome looks and everything. So between the two, they're both amazing cars. But I will tell you, the reason why I made this video is because so many of you out there who have never owned a Hellcat are striving to accomplish that one day, hoping someday you can get a Hellcat, save up enough money and reach that place. And I want to tell you, be careful. Sometimes you never want to meet your heroes because once you have this car, you may want to go back to a Scat Pack. I did. I went back and I got a Scat Pack because it makes so much more sense for everything I use it for. Now, if you have the means to be able to have both and just use this thing for fun, maybe take it to the track and use it to go out there on the weekends and have a good time, take it to car shows, then that's awesome. But if you're going to drive it every single day, if you're going to go to work in this thing, if you're going to go on trips in it, I'm just telling you the Scat Pack is a perfect car, and Dodge really, really, really did a great job on building a car that balances fun and practicality all in one. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and with that, I'll see you in the next one. Please like, subscribe, comment, and check out the Ridge wallet. You will not regret it. Bye-bye.